Welcome to ParkLife Live, the only live phone-in radio show in Cheltenham. Today, on the lunch break, we're going to be talking about whatever you guys want to. You're ringing in and our phone lines are stacked. Right, today with me, I am joined with Dan, Sam and Jack. How are you going, boys?
All good, thank you.
Yeah, not bad.
So as I said, we'll get our first caller in now. The ringing section's always awkward. Hello.
Hi.
Hello, are you there? You are on ParkLife Live's lunch break. What is your name and where are you from?
Hi, I'm Alice. I'm from Bristol.
And that's great. What is your question for us to debate over today?
Who should be in the England team for the fifth test?
Who should be in the England squad for the fifth test? That's a good question. Thank you very much. So, boys, we're 3-0 down after 4 matches. Who should be in the England team?
Yeah, it's not been a good start at all. Well, the whole thing really has not been good. Dan, I know you have some quite strong opinions on Hamid.
Yeah, I think he should be given another go, to be honest. I think it's probably not a popular opinion, but I think going back to Rory Burns at this stage of the series there's no real point, to be honest. The series is gone. He's shown that he's not had a good tour. You've dropped him halfway through. I think it's a really, really odd decision if you suddenly bring him back for one game.
So Hasib Hamid, who's been averaging 4.6 in the past 3 test matches and averaging 10 throughout the whole series, he looks like he can't actually hold the bat at the moment. He looks so bereft of confidence. And Rory Burns' last innings was I believe it was 27 or 37.
Yeah, but I think Hamid actually he started the tour. I think he was one of the few batsmen for England that looked like he could hold it the right way up, to be honest. And Burns, that first ball of the Ashes kind of summed it up for me. He doesn't look ready. He doesn't look prepared. I think it sums up English cricket at the moment. We just go back to players that we know that we've decided aren't good enough previously.
Yeah, but Hamid, he was one of the players that came back. So far he's got 6 single-figure scores in a row. Is that good enough? Look, we're looking forward to the West Indies test as well. Do you really think that a man who scored 4 or 6 and his top scored 9 in the past 4 test matches is good enough?
Probably not really. No, statistically it's bad, but if you drop him from this tour, what's he going to do? He's not going to go and play in the IPL. He's not going to go play any franchise cricket, and if he does, that's not going to help him for his test game. I think you're better off trying to get him to tough through it in this test and against the West Indies, rather than just him sitting at home not playing any cricket and playing in the net. So I don't think that's going to benefit anyone.
Sam, do you have any thoughts?
See, I can understand where Dan's coming from there. I think putting Hamid into the Ashes in the first place was probably a mistake, but it just sums up the lack of depth England have and the lack of quality we have as well. The top order this Ashes have just been absolute shambles, really. And it's just incredible that the rest of the order, as much as they've not been great at all either, that those batsmen can still make the others just look absolutely horrific. Hamid, it hasn't been impressive at all. He's still young though. He's got plenty of time to get better and just probably get a bit more confidence in that England squad. So I can understand what Dan's saying about keeping him in, just to gain his confidence. But I think probably the wise decision is maybe to bring back in Rory Burns, as much as he hasn't performed particularly well. I just think Hamid is not the answer England need right now. And Zach Crawley, he proved himself. He's obviously more than worthy of a spot. So I think Zach Crawley and Rory Burns is the way to go.
I think that's a 2-on-1 against you, Dan. So we're going to go back to Rory Burns. I think 3 and 4 is quite simple. Milan and Root. Anyone got any qualms about that?
No, I totally agreed there, to be honest.
So Milan's been pretty poor in the past 2 tests.
Yeah, he needs a score, but I think he's probably our most comfortable batsman. The most comfortable batsman looks in Australia is normally Milan, so you've got to stick with him. I think if it doesn't come this test, I don't think he'll probably play in the West Indies.
Talking about the West Indies, Root has said he doesn't want any players to be risked for the series. Coming in at 5 and 6 in the last test match was Stokes and Bairstow, both of them not fit particularly. Would you risk them?
It's a tough one. They've obviously been talks about how Stokes would only come in as just a specialist batsman. I think the same for Bairstow as well. I think it's a strange one to risk. Obviously, it does make the series look a lot less embarrassing if we were to win the last test, but who's to say we even will if we have Stokes and Bairstow? That probably still won't be enough, knowing the calibre of this English squad at the moment. Of course, in the last test, they really did prove themselves, Bairstow's 100, but I I'm not sure if it's worth risking them just to try and salvage one game when realistically this Ashes is completely over already.
Yeah, I'd agree. I think, well, when you look at Stokes' performances throughout this series, I think there's been an element of risk with everything. I'm not convinced he was fully fit going into this series. He definitely didn't have enough minutes or overs in the legs. So, I don't think you bother risking him. I think it's up to the players ultimately, but I don't think Bairstow can be anywhere near keeping if he's got anything wrong with his hands. I doubt he will anyway. But I think if he's not going to be able to keep, and Butler's obviously in England again now, I think you need to look at Billings. I don't think giving it to Pope again is... I know it was all we could do in the last game, but I don't think Pope's the man to be our keeper.
So if you're both leaving out Stokes and Bairstow, the only three realistic options will be Sam Billings at bat at 7 with Dan Lawrence and Ollie Pope coming in. Would you be happy with that, or is it just what's the extreme causes have needed?
I'd say, yeah, that's the best we can salvage at the moment, to be honest. I don't think there is much point risking Stokes and Bairstow at this stage. That would probably be my decision. I think that is the best way to go at this point.
Something that has been talked about is going to be an absolutely flat track over in Hobart. Possibly what we did 2 years ago, we had Chris Wokes bat 7. Would you want that larger tail? Because obviously Wokes can do the bat and bowl. I think he's the third highest average for England so far in the Ashes with 26.
We're back again though on picking our bowlers almost based on how good they are at batting because our top order's that frail. And I mean, I think there's certainly a case for Wokes because it's a pink ball as well, and that does tend to swing more, even if it is a flat pitch. So I'd be tempted to bring Wokes back in, but I think you need to play both Broad and Anderson, and Wood's bowling really well, so I don't really know who you leave out at that bowling side.
No, that's a tough one.
So far we've got Zach Crawley, Rory Burns, Darren Milan, Joe Root, Pope, Lawrence and Billings at number 7 with the gloves. Dan, you've said that you want to keep Broad, Anderson and Wood. Anderson's played the last 3 tests. Can he go for another one?
Yeah, I think so. I think he's so mentally driven to do it, and I think if he's got through the last 3 tests, and the truth of it is, although he's having to bowl a lot of overs, we're scoring so few runs that he's not actually having to bowl that long because Australia aren't taking that long to get a lead every time. So I think if he's happy to, it could be his last tour of Australia as well. It probably will be his last tour of Australia. You should, if he wants to play, it's a no-brainer for me.
So obviously the last day-night test match, we didn't pick a spinner, we didn't pick Jack Leach, and ended up with Darren Milan and Joe Root sharing, I think, about 30 overs in the whole match with each other. Will Jack Leach be picked? Because if it is, that's for the same bowlers from the last match.
I mean, he probably has to be, but then all we've heard in the last year when Stokes has been injured is if you don't have Stokes in your side, you can't pick Leach because you need that extra all-rounder. So I think this is the most frustrating thing about this tour is we've played 5 test matches and we've got no better idea of what our best side is.
So you are completely going to be leaving out Craig Overton, who's been excellent when he's been at Australia before, and Ollie Robinson. He sat out the last test match.
I suppose if you do want that bit of rotation, obviously Anderson playing the last 3 tests, I think you could make a slight change there. Robinson could come in. I think it's a tough one because, like Dan was saying, with Leach and Stokes, obviously you don't want Leach in there maybe without having another all-rounder. I think Leach obviously bowled better in the last test, but it's like Dan said, really, we're still in no place where we know what actually is our best team. So it's a really tough one.
With the bowlers, with Dan Lawrence in the team as well, you've got a bit of spin. Would you be scared that on a flat track you've got 2 of the oldest players in Test cricket and Mark Wood, and after that you've got no actual pace bowler options?
I think it's like we said, this is the issue. Like when you have a Lions tour that go home halfway through the main side's tour, you don't have the options to bring in. And like even someone like Mahmood, maybe he's been playing in the Big Bash. Maybe we should have got him involved earlier because I think he's got that raw pace that would have been exciting. But I don't know. I think if Anderson and Broad are fit, they have to play because they're still our best 2 bowlers.
So Anderson and Broad definitely, and you're saying Wood as well?
Yeah, I think Wood, yeah.
Are we going to have to go for Leach because he is a full-time spinner, but only have 3 pace options for when it gets late into the night under the lights in Hobart?
Yeah, I feel like you need a spinner, but like you're saying, we're talking when your tail end of your baton is Billings, Lawrence and who do
Lawrence,
we have?
Pope and Billings.
Yeah, so Pope's not got a score. He's not played recently. Lawrence has never played in Australia for England, and Billings has never played a Test match. Like this sums up. This feels like just a complete disaster of a tour, really.
So we're looking at was it Leach we've gone for, really?
Yeah, I think
it has to be.
That'll be our final.
So what was it? Alice from Bristol. The team that we've picked on the lunch break is Zach Crawley and Burns to open. Darwin Milan, Joe Root 3 and 4. A mid-order batting of Ollie Pope, Liam, Dan Lawrence and Sam Billings, with Wood, Leach, Broad and Anderson as the bowlers. I mean, there's only 3 real changes, and they're the ones that we expected the most, isn't it?
Yeah, really. I think that's probably all we can really say on that one.
All
I
right.
think it's tough one.
Now we've got another caller coming in. Let's have a listen.
This is the Vodafone voicemail.
That's not what we wanted to hear.
That's not great.
What's the question, Matt? Did you happen to know?
I believe from the gallery we have who will be the best transfer of this window. Obviously, we've seen a few big ones coming already. Coutinho was a good one. Digne's just signed. Chris Wood?
Chris Wood, no. 20 million for Chris Wood is just not right in my opinion. I mean, he's at Burnley. I don't think he's like this season. I don't even think he's. I just don't get why that would be the man you would go after with the money they have now. Obviously, I mean, Aston Villa signings have been superb. I mean, picking up Coutinho and then of course Digne today. They're far and away had the best window so far.
Jack, I'll bring you in. Who do you think could end up being a good move?
Well, I'm going to have to repeat what Sam said. I think Coutinho. Gerrard's really putting his stamp on the team. He's made it clear that he wants to change the philosophy of the team. He wants to play more possessive football, and I think that's just the right move. And bringing Digne in as well from Everton, well, supposedly, I think really good business. He's recalling Kane Kessler-Hayden as well from Swindon, who's looked bright in League Two, albeit, but he looks like he can make the step up as well. I think it's just a really good. Obviously, January's a very tricky window for any team bringing in players. No one really wants to let go of their players in January, but I think really he's done well with the finances he's got. Coutinho on a loan deal, obviously. I think it's just really impressive.
Obviously, we're getting into more predictions of who might go, but the likes of Jesse Lingard, Adama Traore, Stephen Bergwijn, Dele Alli are all being rumoured to leave. Tottenham have said that they'll let them two go if they get good offers. Do you realistically see any of them being a decent signing for anyone?
I think
Jesse Lingard at West Ham.
Yeah, Jesse Lingard definitely is the one that stands out to me there. I think obviously the way he ended the season last year of West Ham, just on top form. I think I know there have been links with Tottenham past couple of days. I think again, like any team he goes to, I think he given the game time, he can perform obviously. And I think to be honest, if United do keep him and he stays there, I wouldn't be surprised to see him getting into the team a bit more. I think especially from the game the other night against Villa, when he came on, he looked like he gave United something a bit more. They lacked character in that game, United. I think Lingard was one of the few characters on there that kind of looked like he really wanted to play and had something to prove. So yeah, I wouldn't be surprised if he does stay there, but also I think wherever he does go, I think he'll perform for sure.
Dan?
Yeah, I'd agree. I think Dele Alli's definitely a really interesting one because I'm not sure anyone really knows what's gone wrong at Tottenham, but it's a number of managers now. Like, because even under Nuno, I know it was only a short period, he wasn't affecting games. I don't really know who goes in for him. I don't really know where he fits in now. I'd imagine he's probably got to leave the Premier League, but I don't really know where. He's not young enough to go and do what Sancho did in the Bundesliga or something like that. So I really don't know what fits him really.
Yeah, I'd say it's been time for Dele Alli to get away for quite a while. Like he's been overdue a move for a couple of years now. He may have had a couple of moments where he looked bright, but I just don't think that is ever going to come right now, him at Tottenham.
So just to wrap it up, lads, we've got a Swindon fan, a Chelsea fan and a Bristol City fan in the studio. Who would you like to see your team sign in January?
Good question.
Well, for Chelsea, I'd say probably if it come the end of the season, I'd want a new defender, bearing in mind what the rumours are about who we could lose out on. But obviously, I think the main priority is to get some wing-backs in. So recalling Emerson from loan, Leon would be a huge one for us, and it'll be interesting to see who else we maybe pick up in replacement of Reece James because of his injury at the moment.
Yeah, similar situation for Swindon really. Like I touched on, we've lost Kane Kessler-Hayden to Aston Villa, so we need Wing backs, we play a wing back system, so definitely are looking in for wing backs in the market. No one really linked so far, but yeah, plenty of time.
I think for Bristol City, it's a lot more about getting players off the books as much as getting new ones on them. I think there's a lot of players that we've spent a lot of money on over the last few years and they're not playing, so I think like Casey Palmer and Naki Wells, who aren't being trusted to play, probably need to be moved on, and I think probably need to look for a striker. We don't score enough goals, don't take enough chances, and we've had a lot of injuries at right back as well, so that would probably be the other area.
Cheers. That's it. Thank you very much for today, for the past hour. That's all we have time for today on the lunch break on ParkLife Live. Thank you for watching. Thank you for listening, and we'll see you soon.
ParkLife Sport.